You can use factoring to solve some area problems. Remember that the area of a rectangle is equal to the length times the width. Beth Ring is a professional photographer. She has a photo 8 centimeters long and 6 centimeters wide. Customer wants a print of the photo with a border around it. The print is to have half the area of the original photo. So Beth plans to reduce the length and width of the photo by the same amount. What are the dimensions of the print? So let x equal the amount length and width are reduced. Since she's going to reduce the length and width by the same thing, x will represent it just fine. Okay, if x is 2, then that means that she'll reduce the length and the width by 2, thence reducing it by the same amount, right? You understand what I'm saying? You'll see it better here. Okay, so if we think of length times width equals the area, and it says that the length is 8. So we're going to show that that length of the photo is 8, but I'm going to reduce it by something. And the width is 6, but I'm going to reduce that by something. Now, if I were going to reduce the length and the width by different amounts, how would I show that? Would I use x and x, or what would I use? If they were going to be different amounts. Yeah. So like x and, sure. But since I'll do it for the same thing, then I'll do x and x, because if x equals 4, then I'll reduce this by 4, that by 4. Do you understand? Yes or no? Yes? Good. So half the original amount. So what was the original? 8 times 6 is 48. Half of 48? 24. So we're going to factor this through. We're going to have to FOIL. It's going to be a little backwards until we get things together. First, outer is a negative 8x. Yeah. Half the original amount. Because if the photo is 8 by 6, right? Okay. What's 6 times 8? Let's just try to FOIL this first, and then we'll clean everything out. So first, 8 times 6 outer. 8 times x is a negative 8x, negative 6x, and then last, negative x times negative x, so positive x squared equals 24. Okay, we'll just put all our cards on the table, get everything all laid out there. Normally we see, what did Marlia call it, descending order, right, using vocab from the past, right? And then a negative 8 and a negative 6 combine to give me a negative 14x. There's a positive 48 equals 24. We want this to equal 0, so we got to get rid of that 24 by subtracting it. So subtracted from the 48, 24. So now we're going to look for ways in which we can factor this problem like we've done in the lessons prior. So we're going to have 3 different terms. I'm going to check for GCF. I'm going to check for perfect square. Then we're going to do general trinomial. Factors of a positive 24, they're going to equal a negative 14. They're going to both have to be negative. How about negative 1 and negative 24? Is that going to work? How about negative 2, negative 12? Good. Okay. So x is going to equal either 12 or 2. I need to think of my original setup, a minus x. okay? Which one is more logical? What happens if I plug in the 12? If my photo is only 8, if it's only 8 centimeters, can I take 12 off it? No. So that's not really a possibility. But the 2, 8 minus 2 is 6. 6 minus 2 is 4. Does that give me the 24 that we're looking for? Yeah. So our answer would be 2 centimeters to reduce it by 2. It's a little long, but let's take a look at one like exploratory number 1. Bless you. Let's keep in mind that L times W is equal to the area, okay? Especially when we're talking, well, not always, but we must be talking about a rectangle, right? Length times width. So the length of a rectangle is 3 meters greater than its width, okay? So how am I going to show that? The length is 3 meters greater than its width. Right? The length is, watch Raven, if I've got this formula all spelled out for me, the length is 3 meters greater than its width. So whatever the width is, it's going to be 3 greater to get the length, okay? So we'll use the same variable for now. And it equals 54, okay? So we will find out what the actual length and width are. You might not see it like this. You might be more used to seeing it written this way, so we could use what property? Distributed. W times W. Good so far. Yes. If you're not, just say so, then we can catch it. All right, all right. I mean, you don't have to be, enthusiastic about it, but sometimes the face that doesn't understand is the same face that is enthusiastic about knowing what it is. So if you don't know, you got to tell me. Yeah. No, because we know that this is just a label. It's not tied in with our variable. Okay. You know that when you label something as area, you have it in square units. So that's why. Yeah, don't let that throw you off. Where do we go from here then? Right. So if we keep everything in descending order, and I got to move this 54 over, I'll have to subtract it. Which again looks very similar to what we've been doing up until now, the last couple of days. Factors of a negative 54 that are going to give me a difference of a positive 3. I'm thinking like 6 and 9, right? Do 6 and 9 give me 54? 6 times 9, yeah. So which one has to be bigger then? So W is either going to equal which one is more logical? Can you have a width of negative 9? Not an actual object. So if the width equals 6, what does the length equal? width equals 6, then the length must equal 9. And what is it, meters? Try number 2. It's like the same. It's like the same setup. It says the length is 4 centimeters greater than its width. Okay. And it says that it's 96. So let's rewrite. W squared plus 4W. Can I go ahead and move that 96 over? Equals 0. How are we in the setup? Good. Raven? No? What happened? Do you know what happened? Okay. You want to keep to have one variable. Like you're just working with a W or you're just working with an L. It's going to make it a lot easier. Factors of a negative 96, they're going to give me a positive 4. 12 and 8 one. So if this has to be positive, which one has to be bigger? So W either equals a negative 12 or an 8, right? For my width has to be 8. So if the width equals 8, the length has to equal 12. Number 3. What? Again, length and width. The width of a rectangle is 9 meters less than its length. So L, what? L minus 9 equals 7. Try it. L squared minus 9L minus 70 equals 0. Factors of a negative 70 that give me a difference of negative 9. 14 and 5. So we must have a, like this. So then L has to be, can't be negative 5. So if I plug in L here for my width, 14 minus 9, did I sense a little bit of encouragement there, Marlia? Yeah, right.
Wait a minute. Okay, fine. My question is, the first problem we did, when you were talking about like we have to switch why
This one?
why
You're not switching it to XY. If you're going to cut, you're going to trim the length of a picture and the width of a picture by the same amount. This is what we're finding out, how much we had to trim that picture. If you say you want to trim it by the same amount, you're going to use the same variable. Okay? If I find out that x is 2 when I put it here, it's 2 when I put it there. If I x is 2 and 1 is 1, I would be doing it by different amounts. That's why. Is that what threw you off the whole time? Good. Then we are going to go to page 231. Yep. And review. it is even, except these are even. About to say what? So these are even, but I wanted you to do 33 because 33 is like we just did. Your directions for 2 through 26 even are just factor. So when you look at the opposite page, you've got that checklist there. Use it. Because if you can follow that, you're going to be fine.